Monday on the Jerry Doyle Show. JD here. Hope you had a great weekend. Good to have you on board. Your 6'3" ATM of Informacion loaded up, ready to be accessed. The PIN 800-876-4123 on the program, where intellectual anarchy is encouraged and nurtured for now. Neil helping us out on the boards today. Brad Sands, San Francisco 49ers cap, producing the show today. Sorry, Brad.
How did you
Emails
know?
at the website, jerrydoyle.com. No, you were close. For those of you who were following Brad's picks on Friday, you predicted there would be a 1-point game between the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants. The final score, I believe, was 23-20. The spread was 2.5, so you won on the Giants. You won on the under, but your heart was with San Francisco, and that didn't work out so well for you.
I would have loved to have been wrong on that one.
I'm not a fan of the New York Giants, but I wanted them to win because, as many of you know, my mom had a pretty serious stroke about 5 or 6 months ago, and she's been a lifelong Giants fan. So I don't know how her health's going to go, but I was like cheering for the Giants because I knew she was watching the game. I called her up, and she was like, "Oh, that's a good," and I was like, "All right, fine, give it to the Giants." Maybe God's hand was guiding Eli Manning instead of Tim Tebow.
Oh, that guy can take a beating.
Did you see? He got pounded yesterday.
Man.
Oh, my God. Did you see when after he got sacked for the, 19th time, he came up, his helmet was up on top of his head like a mushroom cap. His right eye was closed. He had his chin guard up around his mouth and his nose. And his shoulder pad was hanging out of his right shoulder.
I'm good. I'm good,
left
Coach.
shoulder.
I'm good, Coach.
And he's like, "Oh, I love football." And I was like, he got pounded. He played really, really well, despite the pounding that he took. But I'm just glad for my mom's sake that the Giants won. But I would have liked to seen, as Neil said, East Coast, West Coast, San Francisco against New England. I think that would have done more for the nation. And we're all about the nation, see? And your other pick there, what was it? The Ravens and
Baltimore and New England.
And New England. Yeah, New England. What do you think?
They didn't cover.
What do you think? Tom Brady's day is like when he goes home at the end of his workday? You think he just pulls in the garage like the rest of us and just turns off the car and walks in the door and the wife goes, "Hi, honey, I'm home. How's your day?" "That's all right." No,
there's a cherub that walks in front of him, strewing about flower petals and rose petals.
Someone polishes his halo as he comes through the door, and as soon as every door opens in his house, it goes, "Oh," and then boom, there's his supermodel wife with his super child, and he's probably got a half a dozen supermodels sitting around in the living room going, "Don't you mess up, Giselle, because we're right here just in case." Which leads me to a question that I have for you at the website. Figure this one for me, will you please? Help me, Ron, to figure this one out. Speaking of someone who took a beating over the weekend, that would be Mitt Romney in South Carolina. I mean, a huge beating. Newt Gingrich, 40% of the vote. Mitt, 27%. Rick Santorum, 17%. You notice Rick Santorum now is in Florida, not wearing his sleeveless sweater vest? Does he no longer support the right to bear arms? That was it. Come on. Oh. But I guess it's a little too tropical and hot down here in Florida for us to be going around with a sweater vest. Anyway, 17% for Rick Santorum, 13% for Ron Paul. Newt Gingrich crushed the field, crushed Mitt Romney. And here's the poll question I have for you. Now, I can understand him crushing the field. I can understand him crushing Mitt Romney. I can understand why with his debate performance and all that. But what votes he won in winning in South Carolina, I'm right in the camp with Stephen Hawking. The an astrophysicist, a nuclear physicist, or a multiple physicist. He's 70 years old. He's the smartest guy on the planet or something. And he said, the only thing I can't figure out in my 7 decades on this planet is women. So, okay, I'm right there with you, Stephen. But here's the poll question. Newt Gingrich won the South Carolina primary, getting 36% of female voters to Romney's 30%. And Gingrich got 39% of married voters to Romney's 29%. So how do you explain this? 5% say it's because Newt's a real charmer. 45% say because South Carolina Republicans have lost their mind. 27% say social issues matter less today. And 23% say it's the economy, stupid. And I thought the gays were a threat to marriage. Newt Gingrich 3 times, and everybody's like, that's my guy. Ladies, female voters, females of America, explain that one to me, please. And married voters, like 40% of the married voters said, Newt's my guy. I'm going to have to pull a Bill O'Reilly here and invalidate the results of the South Carolina primary because we know what you're doing, and we told you not to do it, but you did it anyway. And you've obviously exercised either complete anger or ignorance or stupidity or throw caution to the wind, or you're planning on getting a divorce. If I was a guy in South Carolina who was married, you got to figure that what's the point of being an upstanding, virtuous guy? If you walk into a bar, based on the South Carolina primary results, you got a 40% chance of picking up a woman who doesn't care if you're faithful. That's a pretty good pond to fish in.
Nice.
Is it not?
That should be on their Move to South Carolina brochure.
Oh, this and what people wrote about the results of Newt getting the female voters and the married voters, to me, was like, wow, really? Really? Now, here's Newt Gingrich talking about what his success is attributable to. And I was listening to this on Saturday night. That's how pathetic my life is. But I was listening to this on Saturday night, and this is what Newt Gingrich said about his debating skills and what people are feeling.
People completely misunderstand what's going on. It's not that I am a good debater. It is that I articulate the deepest felt values of the American people.
Woo! And they're cheering. He articulates the deepest felt values of the American people? No. The reason that you're scoring is because of your debating prowess. It's not because you articulate the deepest felt values of the American people. You couldn't be further from the truth. But now, the beauty of Newt Gingrich's mind is that he is manipulating people into thinking exactly what he just said. Up until now, everybody said he's winning because of the debates. And he said, I'll challenge Barack Obama to 7 Lincoln-style debates. He can even use a teleprompter. By the way, don't underestimate Obama. He beat Hillary Clinton and the Clinton political machine. Don't underestimate Obama when it comes to debating. But debating is what Gingrich to where he's at. His style, his delivery, his anger, his knowledge of the issues. But who was he debating? Rick Oops Perry? Herman? Libya? Kane? What? Libya? What are they? Oh, yeah, Libya, right. NATO, planes, Gaddafi, Bejuan tent. Got it. Yeah, that guy. We're talking about that guy, right? So he's debating Michelle Bachmann. He's debating Rick Perry. He's debating Herman Cain. He's debating the social issue suck-up Santorum, who's actually coming into his own. And he's debating John Huntsman, who's the next in line to be the host of Jeopardy if Alex Trebek retires. And he's debating Ron Paul, who said, if I had anything to do all over again, it would be my debating because I'm not very good at delivering my message, even though he thinks it's a good one. So now he's trying to tell people, it's not my debating. No. Yes, it is. But it's because he articulates the deepest values felt by the American people, apparently not felt by Newt Gingrich himself. Because much like Bill Clinton says, I feel your pain, Newt Gingrich can say, I feel your values, but he doesn't live them. But the Republican values voters, the family voters, are voting 36% female voters for Newt Gingrich to Romney's 30, and 39% of married voters will make that 40 to Romney's 30. How do you explain this? Now, that's a mystery. It's kind of like those mysteries of life. Feed a cold, starve a fever, or is it starve a cold, feed a fever? Who shot JFK? Why does whoever have a career? Stuff like that. Those are things that you can kind of figure out. But over the weekend, I was reading this opinion piece on FoxNews.com from Dr. Keith Abloh. Do you know this guy? bald-headed, follically challenged individual like myself. This is the headline that he writes about Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich's 3 marriage mean he might make a strong president. And he writes, really? And I'm reading through this, and I'm going, what has happened to people's minds? It's like the chicken poltergeist standing in front of the house screaming, what's happening? And that's my question. What is happening in America that Newt Gingrich wins the majority of the female and the married voters in South Carolina?
The Jerry Doyle Show.
What about the evangelical voters? Tim Carney from the Washington Examiner is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. He's the author of Obamanomics. Evangelical vote, he says, is political, not theological. And here's some theology from Dr. Abloh. 3 women have met Gingrich and been so moved by his emotional energy and intellect that they decided they wanted to spend the rest of their lives with them. And one of them felt this way even though he was already married for the 2nd time, cheating on his 2nd wife after he divorced his 1st wife to cheat on her with his 2nd wife and convincing his daughters to side with him. Dr. Abloh says that might have us calling for a 3rd term of a Gingrich presidency. You shouldn't smoke crack and write op-ed pieces. 800-876-4123. Join me.
NBC News can project that Newt Gingrich has won the South Carolina primary. This is very exciting.
We disqualified him because his people slammed the poll. You know, we have technology, you guys.
Jerry Doyle.